As a product designer working with different startups, I've always had this question in mind: why do some startup apps fail even when the idea is actually brilliant? So I started digging into research, success case studies, failure case studies, talks from product leaders, and my own project experience. And honestly, I found something interesting. A lot of the problems weren't about the idea, they were about how the product was built, validated, and designed. That's why in this video, I want to break down the most common UX UI challenges that show up in early stage startups based on industry research and real product design work, and what designers can realistically do about them. My goal is to make this video genuinely helpful, especially if you are working in a startup environment or you want to understand what actually makes a product succeed or struggle. Challenge 1. Moving too fast and skipping validation. One of the biggest challenges in early stage startups is speed pressure. Founders and teams want to build fast, often because of investors, competitors, or market timing. The mindset becomes, let's build it now, we'll fix things later. The problem is, skipping validation often means the team builds what they think users need, not what users actually need. Even a brilliant idea can fail if it's implemented without testing assumptions first. Step 1. List your assumptions. Assumptions are things the team believe are true but haven't proven yet. For example, in a fitness app, users want personalized workout plans. Users prefer video instructions over text. Gamification will increase retention. Even if competitors offer these features and they work for them, that doesn't guarantee they work for your product. Users, context, resources, and execution all differ. For example, competitors may have advanced AI or large dataset, but your small startup doesn't. Competitor user may be experienced, whereas your target audience may be beginners. The feature might succeed elsewhere because of brand trust, not just the feature itself. Listing assumptions help you see what needs testing before investing time and resources. Step 2. Avoid asking users hypothetical questions. A common mistake is asking users, would you like this feature? Almost everyone will say yes, but that doesn't mean they'll actually use it. There are 2 reasons for this. Users respond aspirationally, not realistically. For example, if you ask, do you want personalized workouts? They might think, yeah, that sounds great. I should want that. But that doesn't mean they will fill out a long onboarding form, actually use the plan, stick with over time, or pay for it. Users don't know how they'll behave until they try it. Humans are terrible at predicting their own behavior. Decades of UX research and behavioral science show this. For instance, people might say, yes, I want to meditate every morning. But in reality, most don't actually open the app every day. So users often say yes to the idea, not to the execution. That's why behavior-based validation is far more reliable than simply asking hypothetical questions. Instead, focus on real behavior. Ask questions like, how do they currently do the things you want to improve? Have they used similar features before? What worked and what didn't? And what frustrates them about current solutions? Step 3. Quick, realistic validation. You don't need long research cycles. Small, fast tests can save weeks of wasted effort. For example, 5 to 10 minute user interviews with 3 to 5 users. Why only 3 to 5? Experts like Nielsen Norman Group explain that most usability problems, around 85%, are discovered with just 5 users. After that, additional interviews often reveal the same issues, so you get diminishing returns. This makes small user tests fast, efficient, and perfect for startups that need quick validation. Other quick validation methods include quick usability tests with 3 to 5 people, A/B testing a landing page or prototype, using tools like Figma clickable prototypes. Even tiny validation loops gives you evidence for your assumptions and help the team make smarter decisions without slowing down the startup too much. So the first common challenge is building too fast without validating assumptions. The fix isn't to slow everything down or become a research team. It is to list your assumptions, focus on real user behavior, and run small, fast validation tests. Challenge 2. Feature creep. Too many features too soon. Another common challenge in a startup is feature creep, trying to include too many features in the first version of the product. Teams often think if we build everything at once, users will love it and will beat competitors. But in reality, adding too much too soon can overwhelm users, delay launches, and hide the core value of the product. Step 1. Identify the core value. The first step is to define the core value your product provides. Ask yourself, what is the one problem our users really need solved? If we could only build one feature, what would it be? For example, in a fitness app, the core value might be helping users complete a simple daily workout. Features like social challenges, gamification badges, or AI meal plans can wait for later. When the team focuses on the core value first, it becomes easier to prioritize what truly matters and avoid building features that aren't essential. Step 2. Avoid assumption driven features. A big reason feature creep happens is that teams build features based on assumptions or competitor offerings rather than validated user needs. For example, just because every competitor has a community forum doesn't mean your users actually want one. Adding complex dashboard or personalized report might seem cool, but if users don't need them, it only adds friction. The fix is the same as in Challenge 1. Validate assumptions early and focus on features that solve actual user problems. Step 3. Prioritize and prototype. Once you identify potential features, prioritize ruthlessly. Must have solves the core problem. Nice to have adds value but not essential. Future can wait until later versions. A simple technique is Moscow prioritization. Must, should, could, wants. Then build a minimum viable versions, a prototype or a small functional release that only includes the must-have features. This approach helps you launch faster, gather real user feedback, and reduce wasted effort. Step 4. Test before expanding. After launching the MVP, observe how users interact with it. Which features do they actually use? Which parts are confusing or ignored? Are there requests for new features that genuinely improve the core experience? Use this data to guide your next feature additions. This way, you grow the product based on real behavior, not assumptions or competitor comparisons. Feature creep is a common trap in startups, but it can be avoided by focusing on the core value, validating features, and prioritizing ruthlessly. Start small, launch fast, and expand based on real user feedback. Challenge 3. Lack of UX awareness among stakeholders. Another major challenge in startups is when stakeholders, founders, product managers, or even engineers don't fully understand the value of UX research and design. They may see it as nice to have instead of critical to product success. Step 1. How it shows up. Lack of UX awareness can create problems like rushing design decisions without research, ignoring user feedback in favor of personal opinions, prioritizing features that look good rather than solving user problems, and questioning your design choices constantly. Even if you've validated assumptions, a stakeholder who doesn't understand UX might override them, which can lead to features that frustrate users and dilute the core value. Step 2. Recognize the signs. Some common signs that a stakeholder undervalue UX. They want to see screen designs immediately before any research or validation. They frequently reference competitors instead of user behavior. They measure success only by speed or feature count, not adoptions or engagement. They assume UX is just about making things look nice. Step 3. How designers can respond. When stakeholders expect screens immediately, use quick, low fidelity prototypes first. Create wireframes or sketches to communicate ideas quickly. Emphasize they are draft for discussions, not final designs. For example, here's a low fidelity flow showing the main interactions. We can refine after testing this with users. Parallel research plus design. Run small validations tasks in parallel while starting rough screens. For example, interview 3 to 5 users or review analytics while creating basic Figma flows. Label as prototypes for testing, not final screens. Frame it as risk management. Explain trade-off clearly. We can design polished screens now, but if assumptions are wrong, we risk redesigning them completely later. Low fidelity prototypes let us test ideas cheaply and quickly. Show quick wins. Polish small elements that don't require research risk, like button branding or icons. Keep stakeholders happy while the main flows are validated. Why this works? Shows progress without compromising UX integrity. Balances stakeholders' expectations with data-driven design. Step 4. Other ways to handle UX awareness challenges. Beyond screens, other strategies include use evidence, not opinions. Show research, test results, or analytics. Educate with small wins. Start with quick improvements that make a measurable difference. Communicate in their language. Frame UX in terms of adoption, retention, or revenue impact. Document decisions. Reduces repeated debates and clarifies trade-offs. Those were the first 3 common UX UI challenges startups face and practical ways to tackle them. In the next video, we'll cover challenges 4 and 5, plus a bonus tip on designing MVPs with scalability in mind, all based on real-world experience. Make sure to watch part 2 to learn how to handle being the only designer, limited resources, and how to build product that can grow without starting from scratch. Before you go, if you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss part 2. Your support helps more designers see these lessons and grow our global UX UI community.